Hello, students. It's Mrs. Bodell. We are jumping into chapter 12, lesson 7, and that is on page number 941. I don't know why the one won't right there. There we go. 941. In your textbook, you should see this. Let's get my pen off here. You should see this suitcase, rolly wheels. You know you're on the right place. And we are going to be working on three-dimensional figures. So we did this yesterday a little bit with nets, working on the difference between a two and a three-dimensional figure, but we didn't do a lot of explanation. So let's go ahead and jump into it. A three-dimensional figure is something that has length, width, and height. So length, width, and height that has all three dimensions. It's not flat like just a square with just two dimensions. So all three-dimensional figures have faces. Most three-dimensional figures have faces. Faces are flat surfaces. Edges are where two faces meet, and vertexes or vertices is how one vertex, multiple vertices, is a point where three or more faces meet. It's that little dot in the corner where they meet. So let's take a look at this. It says describe the faces, edges, and vertices of the figure outlined on the luggage bag. Then identify the shape of the figure. So first we're going to take a look at its faces. And remember that it has faces that we can't see. Okay, so remember there's faces that you can't see. There's a back side to this suitcase. So we're going to count the faces, the first thing. So we're going to count, we have this front face that we can see is 1. And then, of course, we have the back face that we can't see is 2. Then we have the top, which is 3, and the bottom, which is 4. Then we have this left side, which we can see is 5, and then the right side that we can't see is 6. So we can put down that this figure has 6 faces. And each face appears to be a rectangle. We've learned what rectangles are. Opposite sides are congruent and parallel, and it has 4 right angles. Now let's count the edges. So we've got, I'm going to use like a highlighter here, hopefully. Let's see if I can get this to work. I'll just change my pen color maybe. We'll change it to like this. So let's draw over our edges. So we have one edge right here. Then we have 2 edges, 3 edges, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But that's only the ones I can see. Now I'm going to make my pen a little bit smaller. And remember, this is a 3-dimensional figure. So we also have 10 going back behind it, 11 going down, and then over to this side, 12 to make it a 3-dimensional figure. So to make this a 3-dimensional figure, it has 12 edges. And the opposite sides are parallel and congruent. Now we're going to count how many vertices it has, and that's where 3 faces come together. So we've got 1 right here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then on the back side we can't see 8. It has 8 vertices. And if you have like something that's that shape, you could hold it in your hand and physically count them. So here's some facts. Prisms are 3-dimensional figures. A prism has at least 3 faces that are rectangles. The top and the bottom faces are called bases, and they're congruent parallel polygons. So this figure above is a rectangular prism. The bases are congruent rectangles. So we've got this base here. Let me change my pen to blue. We're going to do all the colors. This bottom base here is a rectangle, and it is congruent to this top base here, which is also a rectangle. Then it says, in the rectangular prism, the bases are congruent rectangles. A rectangular prism has 6 rectangular faces, 12 edges, and 8 vertices. That's what we just got, my friends. So we have completed that. So let's go on to the next page and let's learn a little bit more. Let's see. Why won't my page scoot over? What's happening to you thing? Nope. Maybe I'm zoomed. Okay, here we go. So this is a couple prisms that we're going to go over in detail. So first thing, we have a rectangular prism. That's what we just looked at. A rectangular prism has 6 rectangular faces, 12 edges, and 8 vertices. A triangular prism, you'll notice, has a triangle base. Instead of a rectangle base, it has a triangle base. It has 5 faces, 9 edges, and 6 vertices. A cube, you guys all know what that is a 6 square faced prism, 12 edges, and 8 vertices. A cube is also called a square prism. And you'll notice that the cube has the same number of faces as a rectangular prism, 6 faces. You'll notice the rectangular prism has 12 edges. Cube has 12 edges. And you'll notice that it has 8 vertices. Both of these do. And the cube also has 8 vertices. So they're pretty similar. And that's because, remember from our classifying shapes by their attributes, squares are rectangles. So they have a lot in common. But the triangular one has some different numbers because it doesn't have all the sides. Okay, let's take a look. We're going to describe the faces, edges, and vertices of this figure and then try to identify it. So we're going to count the faces on this. So let's count them up. We've got the top and the bottom. That's my 2 triangles, the bases. The top and the bottom are triangles. So 1, 2. I can make tick marks here to keep track of them. Then I've got, say, side A here. That's 3. Side B here. That's 4. And side C's on that back side. So it has 5 faces. 5 faces. What shape are the bases? That's what it wants to know. The triangle, oh my goodness, that is the ugliest writing ever. The triangle bases are congruent and parallel, and the other faces are squares. How many edges are there? So we're going to go back with our pen and we're going to count up these edges. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And the only one I can't see is that dotted line back there, 9. So there are 9 edges. And the edges that form the vertical sides of the rectangles are parallel and congruent. Congruent. Or the same. How many vertices does this have? Let's get our pen and count. That's where 3 faces come together. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now that one right there, that line's actually on the back, so nothing's happening there. So it's just 6 vertices. This figure is a triangular prism. A triangular prism. Okay, let's go on. If you need to pause it there, you can, but I'm going to go on to the next page. So I want us to try to identify the faces, edges, and vertices of these. I'm not going to make us count all of them each time, but I want you to notice that we only have square shapes. So I'm going to put square faces. Mrs. Bodell needs to zoom in so I can write better. Oh, I see. Hold on a second. Back. Let me zoom in here. Okay, it only has square faces. It definitely has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 vertices. So this is a cube, and you guys probably knew that. You could recognize that. It's a cube. Okay, this one has triangle faces, number 3. It also has rectangle faces. You see this right there's a rectangle, and this one right there, if you flipped it over, and the bottom one, plus rectangle faces. And so this is a triangular prism, and it looks like a triangle. So this one's pretty easy, triangular prism to identify. And if you need more time to write that down, you can pause here. I'll go down to 4 and 5. I've got triangle faces and rectangles. So I'm going to say triangle plus rectangle faces. If there is a triangle face at all, which this one has one, it is a triangular prism. If you see a triangle anywhere in your shape, and this one has a triangle right there, it is a triangular prism. Okay, let's take a look at number 5. If you need to pause it to finish writing step 6, you may. Number 5, I see rectangle faces only. They're not cubes. They're not square faces. Not they're rectangles. This side is congruent to this side, and this side is congruent to this side. So this is a rectangular prism. Rectangular prism. We could count the sides. We've got one in the, let's see, Mrs. Bodell's gonna, I've got a side here, 1 in the front, and the opposite on the back is 2. The right side is 3, the left side is 4, the top is 5, and the bottom is 6. It does have 6 sides if you wanted to write that. And it's gonna have our 12 edges and 8 vertices. Okay, let's go on to number 6. Number 6, they've given you the 3-dimensional outline of this skyscraper, and I see rectangle faces only. There's no triangles on there. There's no cubes. This is a rectangular prism. And then finally, number 7, the faces that I see are, this one is a triangle right there. And then this guy on the side, if I change my color here, maybe you can see it. It looks like a square or a rectangle. So we'll write that down, that we have triangle and rectangle faces. And because I have at least one triangle, the whole thing is a triangular prism. Because I have one triangle, my whole thing is a triangular prism. Great work today. Let me know if you have any questions on this, and I'll see you soon.